I need to come up with a plan. I don't have a plan. This is just winging it here. Do not do what I do. This is a terrible idea. Don't wing your book launch. You know, unless you want to. Then go ahead. Do what you want. Monday. As I'm filming this, I am 3 weeks away from the release date for On a Dark Tide. When this video goes up, it'll probably be closer to 2 weeks to the release, so there'll be a little bit of time disconnect with these videos, but that's okay. I woke up early this morning, made some tea, and brainstormed a new story idea. Then we had some breakfast, and now I'm sitting down to work out a plan for this book launch. I have a vague idea of what I want to do for this launch, but I haven't really sat down to just kind of plan it out and prioritize what I want to focus on. The past 2 months I've been in my writing cave revising the next book in this series. I finished up draft 2 last week, so now I'm shifting my focus to launching the first book in the series. So that's my main goal this morning. I need to figure out what still needs to be done, what I want to try and do before the launch date. As I mentioned in the introduction video, I'm doing what I call a low-key launch, which basically means I'm putting in a minimal amount of effort to launch the book. My goal for this book is to just get it out there and see what happens. I know that's probably a terrible plan, and probably most business experts would advise you against that plan. One of the reasons I decided to self-publish, and I'll talk a lot more about this in next week's video, but one reason was because I wanted to be able to experiment and do things my own way. And one thing that was important to me was to have less anxiety surrounding a book launch. I'm an anxious person, and the idea of putting a book out in the world just makes me really nervous. And so I'm trying to find a healthier way for me to exist in the publishing sphere. And I'm hoping that kind of letting go of the idea that I have to break out with each new book will help with that. I mean, obviously having a book sell and be read by people is better than not selling and not being read, but I've always been a believer in the long game, in the idea of publishing as a marathon, and I really lean into the idea of building something sustainable and something that might grow slowly but has the potential to be lasting and meaningful. And I'm kind of hoping that self-publishing will allow me to explore that kind of long game a little bit more and kind of leave behind that like your book must be a breakout, your book must be a bestseller, or you failed mindset. So that's one reason I'm doing a more low-key launch, because right now with where I'm at in my career and with this book, it just doesn't really make sense for me to try and do all the things and spend all the money. Later on that might make more sense, but right now I think my time and energy are better focused on writing more books. But I don't want to do nothing, so I'm doing a little bit. I'm planning on publishing at least 3 more books in this series, and so this first book for me, the goal is just all about learning the ropes, learning how it's done, how you publish a book, and then not burning myself out, just kind of laying a solid base for self-publishing and for kind of my future. We're bootstrapping a lot of our efforts here. I'm lucky that my husband Ryan's been helping me with a lot of the technical issues, but for right now it's really just the 2 of us publishing this book. We're trying to keep costs down as much as possible, and while I definitely understand the concept of investing money into a business to make money, it feels like right now, where I'm at with this book, the best plan is for us to just kind of be as do-it-yourself as possible and then build on top of that with each new book. So what have I already done? Well, as you can see, the book itself is done. We've approved the proof copies, and pre-order links are live for both the ebook and the print book. Ryan redesigned my website to include this book and the pre-order links. There's a few things we still need to do with that. I already have social media platforms that I've been posting to regularly. I've told my newsletter subscribers about the book and kind of given them the pre-order information. And so that's kind of all I've done so far. I actually haven't done a lot of social media posts about the book itself, so I need to do some of those. I need to prep for that, kind of try to get the word out on my social media platforms. I also want to reach out to bookstagrammers who have read my previous books, reviewers that might like this one as well, and I want to do a little more research about direct sales, library outreach, and bookstore outreach. I also have a fun idea for a little book trailer that I want to try and make, so I don't know if I'll be able to do it. It's a little bit of a stop motion idea, which I'm not really familiar with, but I'm gonna try it. But the biggest thing that still needs to get done is that I need to get my audiobook uploaded with Findaway Voices, which is an audiobook distributor. I narrated my own audiobook and Ryan took over the mastering part because I was just gonna pull my hair out, but he's so talented. He has this unique ability to kind of take over the more mechanical and technical stuff like this and just really figure out the process and the best way to do it. So he took over that and he did a great job mastering the book. So we uploaded it on ACX, which is Amazon and Audible's distributor, last week. I'm publishing this book wide on many platforms with many distributors, and Findaway Voices is a good one for audiobooks. Kind of reaches different places like Scribd, that subscription service for audiobooks, Overdrive, places like Chirp. So that's what I'm going to work on right now, this morning. I want to get that audiobook sent over to them as soon as possible because there's a bit of a waiting period where they look over the files to make sure they're satisfactory and, sellable. They don't just want a bunch of background noise in the audiobook. They want people to actually enjoy listening. So I need to get that going if I want to try and have the audiobook available around release date. It might not happen. It might come out a little bit later, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the morning planning out the rest of my week and figuring out what I need to do for the launch sooner rather than later, kind of what tasks I need to get done before April 27th, which is book release day. So I'm going to go and get some work done now. Okay, so this is going to take a minute here while they upload the files. So I'm going to go make a cup of tea. So the audiobook is uploaded to Findaway Voices, and now we're just waiting for the quality control review. So that should take a couple weeks, and then hopefully it'll be ready to go by the release date. While I was waiting for that to upload, I came to my board and worked on my task list of what I want to get done. I divided it into 3 quadrants, like my must do, probably I'll do it, and then if I want to, if I have the energy, if I have the bandwidth to do these other things. So I think my priority for this week is going to be trying to do outreach to bookstagrammers and reviewers and set up some giveaways or some sample chapters and try to get some early reviews coming in or reviews around the time the book is published. I know reviews are important for people when they are deciding whether or not to buy a book, so I think I should focus on getting some of those. Well, I actually spent this morning looking into BookFunnel instead of coming up with a list of reviewers and bookstagrammers. BookFunnel is a service that a lot of indie authors use to distribute ARCs, to distribute sample chapters, to sell directly, and they have started to sell audiobooks directly, so I'm looking into that as another option for distribution. So I spent some time watching some YouTube videos about how all that works and signing up for an account, and I'll probably work on getting some sample chapters up and maybe some e-ARCs ready for distribution. But it's 11 o'clock now, so it's time to take a lunch break and take Charlie for a walk. Hey buddy, wanna go for a walk? Yeah? Ready? I feel like I made some good progress today. It's about 2 o'clock and I'm getting a little bit of a headache, maybe from allergies, so I think I'm going to finish up work for the day. So I took the first 5 chapters from the book and put them into their own ebook file and then uploaded that onto this BookFunnel website, and then in theory, people, when I give them the link, they can go to this website and download the first 5 chapters and preview the book before they decide to pre-order it. So I will leave that link below in case you want to read the first 5 chapters of the book. I'll check in with you again tomorrow. It's Tuesday morning and I have been working on getting my newsletter ready to go out to my newsletter subscribers. I have a pretty small list right now, but my newsletter is one of my favorite things to put together. I send it out once a month. I kind of talk about my life a little bit and about what I'm reading and about a behind the scenes look into my writing life. This week, I wanted to send out sample chapters to the newsletter subscribers. That has taken me all morning. I'm done. I'm ready to send it out. I'm going to send that out and then go take Charlie for a jog. This afternoon, I think I'm going to work on editing some of this video for next week, as well as making a list for bookstagram outreach, which was what I was going to do yesterday, but I decided not to. So I'm going to do that this afternoon. The main priority today was to get my newsletter out, and that is going out right now. Bookstagrammers are just over here killing it with their feeds. You guys, there are some beautiful bookish feeds to check out. There are just some really beautiful pictures here. I am so impressed. Good job, good work on making the books look beautiful. So I've picked out about 20 bookstagrammers that I am going to reach out to in the coming weeks. I have a couple extra people just in case. I doubt all 20 of those people will respond to me reaching out to them. I have been following many of them for a while and have relationships with some of them, so I'm hoping a few of them will want a free copy of my new book. We'll see what happens. I love Bookstagram. I find a lot of new reads because of Bookstagrammers and the good work that they do sharing books. So, hoping they'll help me get the word out. Good morning. It's Wednesday. I have a little cup of tea here, and I thought I would talk a little bit about anxiety. I have it. I've been dealing with anxiety for most of my life. Just your garden variety anxious writer over here. But over the years, I've built a pretty good tool set for dealing and managing with my anxiety, and I live with it in a pretty healthy way now. I find that mindfulness works for me. I find that exercise and yoga and tea breaks and friendships and getting outside and stepping away from the computer, all of that helps lessen the anxious feelings that I can often feel, especially when I'm doing new things or trying something scary or launching a new book. I think a lot of my anxiety manifests also as perfection. I want to do everything right, hit all the right stones, write the perfect book, be the perfect friend, make the perfect YouTube video, and even though logically I know that that's not possible, that perfection is not possible, and being human is about making mistakes and failing and stumbling and all your little beautiful flaws, that nobody really wants perfection. Just my brain is like, yes, we need to be perfect. So the heater just turned off. So it can be very vulnerable for me to share my experiences or even to write books. I think with fiction, it's been easy for me to kind of hide behind that shield of storytelling of this is just a story, it's fiction, it's not me, it's made up, which is in some ways true, but also there are pieces of me in every book that I write. So there's a certain amount of vulnerability every time I launch a new book. There's also a loss of control feeling, which really aggravates my anxiety. If I can control the situation, I am way less anxious than if it's a situation out of my control. I have spent many years learning to be more spontaneous and more flexible and more forgiving and being more gracious with myself. So it's a little easier now. I'm having much less anxiety with this book launch than I did with my debut novel 6 years ago. When Crooked River came out, I was a mess. I was not sleeping. I was just an emotional train wreck. So I think I'm dealing a little bit better with this book launch. And part of that is because so much is in my control. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to try self-publishing, is because I wanted to have that feeling of like knowing what was coming and knowing what I was doing. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. I still don't, but I'm not waiting around for someone to tell me, oh, this review came in or that review came out, or, you know, you got this award or whatever. I'm not sitting around wondering if other people are doing their jobs. I'm the only one who's working on this book, so I know whether or not I'm getting stuff done, right? On the flip side, that's a lot of pressure. This book is going to do well or not well based on how much work I put in. That's not entirely true. There is a little bit of luck involved with publishing a book, luck and timing and it finding the right people at the right time, and you don't have control over that, and that's terrifying. That's one of the more terrifying things about publishing a book. So what is the point other than me oversharing on YouTube about my anxiety? I guess I just am trying to show a different way of publishing a book. A lot of times when I see people launching books or talk to my writer friends, there's a bit of a franticness about it. There's a bit of a panic, this idea that you have to do everything all at once and everything has to kind of click together and line up perfectly, or else you're going to be a failure, your book's going to be a failure. And I don't know, I think that you can have everything line up perfectly and you still don't sell a lot of copies, or your book still doesn't get good reviews, or people aren't reading it. There are a lot of books being published every day, and it's a lot to expect your one book to explode on one certain day, on your release day. It's a lot of pressure for yourself, it's a lot of pressure for a publisher, it's a lot of pressure for the book. I try to think about it as a reader sometimes, where books come out and I get excited about them, but I don't necessarily read them on release day. I mean, I might post about them if I'm like really excited about it, but I usually wait a couple weeks, months, years. I have found books 5-10 years after they've published and then gone and read the backlist of the author. The beautiful thing about writing books is that people can find them years after they were published. So I try to keep that in mind as I am working on launching On a Dark Tide. I don't have to hit the #1 bestseller list on launch day. I know I won't, because that is not my goal. That is not what I'm trying to do. I find more often lately, like, my anxiety manifests at night when I'm about to go to sleep, and I just start freaking out, being like, what are you doing? Why are you sharing all this? Why are you sharing your life like this? Why are you wasting your life writing books that no one's going to read? And these are like night anxious thoughts. They come when I'm tired, and I know they're not reality, and I just have to kind of tell myself, like, calm down, go to sleep. Don't take yourself so seriously. Don't take your book so seriously. If you enjoy what you're doing, keep doing it. So I wake up in the morning, I'm like, hey, do you still like this? Are you still having fun? The answer is yes, I still like this. I'm still having fun. Now I'm just rambling. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about anxiety today is because today I am reaching out to bookstagrammers and reviewers and basically cold calling them. I'm emailing them. I'm not actually calling on the phone. My brain would probably break if I had to call people on the phone. So thank goodness for email. I spent an hour on it this morning and reached out to about 4 people. So hopefully this will go a little bit faster once I get the hang of it. I don't just want to spam people. I want people who might enjoy this book to get this book. People who enjoy reading mysteries, thrillers, detective novels. So I'm spending time looking at their feeds. A lot of these people I already follow, so I'm familiar with them. So this is one of the things that makes me anxious. This is a trigger for me, for my specific kind of anxiety. I get nervous talking to new people. I'm generally a very friendly person, except for I am also shy. Where are my shy YouTubers at? Hi, I'm Valerie, I'm shy, and I have a YouTube channel. I just pretend that you're all my friends, that we go way back, we've already gone through all the awkward small talk phases, and we are just now sharing our lives with each other. In addition to being anxious and a little bit shy, I'm a people pleaser. Remember that perfectionist thing I was talking about? So I want everyone to like me, even though I know not everyone will like me. People won't like me. That's just part of being human. Not everyone likes you. These are the things I have to tell my brain to remind it to calm down and that it's fine if people don't like you. And then I go for a walk, work on my plants, read a book, drink some tea. We're getting off track here again. This is getting long. I should wrap this up. I have already made a mistake. And I might talk about this a little bit more in a different video when I'm doing like what I would do differently, that kind of thing. My book is coming out on April 27th, and I'm reaching out to people now, 3 weeks before the book comes out. And in general, that is not enough time for people to read and review a book. I have no expectations for them to read and review the book, and I should make this clear in my email, because the 4 emails already sent, I did not make it clear, and one of the people has emailed back and was very kind and very gracious, but they were like, I can't review this book in 3 weeks. I was like, oh, I definitely don't expect you to. So I need to make that clear in my first message, that I don't have expectations for them to read and review a book in 3 weeks. I just have some books that I want to send their way. If they would like to share it with their audience, great. If not, that's fine too. So if I were to do this again, I would do it earlier. But I was putting it off because I was nervous and I was anxious about it. And I have a really hard time approaching people in this manner of saying, hey, I'm Valerie. I wrote a new book. I think your feed is great. Do you want a copy? That doesn't sound like it should be hard, and yet my brain, I love my brain, but sometimes it likes to make my life really difficult. I don't know if I'm going to get to all 20 bookstagrammers right now. I might have to work on it a little bit tomorrow. We'll see how far I get. Okay, I'm going to go stop blathering and go do that right now. I just had a thought. I have sent out a few messages to bookstagrammers, and the ones I've sent out have been people that I kind of already know. They've seen me talking about the book in other places, but I haven't actually posted anything on Instagram about the book. So I feel like I should put up a picture of the book that I want to send to them. I have sent out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 messages, and I have 20. I've already waited too long, I know, but I think I might wait a little longer. These other people are people I follow, but they don't necessarily know who I am. I don't have a relationship with them necessarily. So they might be more interested in like seeing something about my book on my Instagram feed after I reach out to them. I don't know. But I only post on Instagram Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I've been doing something aesthetic with my feed where I post like pictures of the weather, like flowers and trees and stuff, in between like pictures of books. I really like how it looks, so today is supposed to be a flower picture. I already have it like ready to go, so I might have to wait until Friday. I guess I could post on Thursday, tomorrow. Screw the algorithm, you know what I'm saying? That stuff's all bull anyway. What time is it? Does anybody know? Who's got a clock around here? I'm tired. This has been a long, stressful morning for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go do something else now. We just got back from a brisk, chilly, slightly damp walk. I'm wrapping up for the day. I spent this afternoon chatting with a dear writer friend. We talked about setting up direct sales on my website for the book and some things she did for her book launch. And, you know, just kind of talked about books we were reading, bad books, good books, all the in-between. So it was just a really good conversation and just really encouraging. So that was my afternoon. So I think I'm going to make some chocolate chip cookies and do some reading and just kind of relax and then jump back in tomorrow. So I will see you tomorrow. To believe it's Thursday, but here we are. Time flies when you are releasing a book. This morning I mainly just worked on getting some feedback to a friend. I was reading her book, her first draft of a new book that she's working on. It's so good. I'm so excited about it. So I was sending her some feedback for most of the morning. Then I uploaded a beautiful picture of On a Dark Tide on my Instagram so that I could finish sending out requests to bookstagrammers to find out if they wanted a free copy of the books. I'm about halfway through my list. It's going a little slower than I thought it would. I should be able to finish that up tomorrow. For the rest of the afternoon, I'm going to work on organizing this stack of books here. One unexpected thing that happened was that Ryan and I got a box of books delivered from the printer, and as we were sorting through them, we discovered there were some issues with the books. The cover has like a raggedy edge, and some of the spine was just like crushed and the glue was weird. There was even one book where the cover was peeling off, so we've contacted the printer and complained. So that's something that I definitely did not have to deal with when I was traditionally published. That was kind of the stuff that my publisher would deal with. So now that I'm self-publishing, we have to deal with that. What's nice is that Ryan's really supportive and he kind of helps out a lot, and he took over this task for me. He sorted through the books and took pictures of them and sent the complaint letter to the distributor. Thank goodness for Ryan. We're gonna work on packaging these up this weekend and getting them out in the mail next week. So at least the ones that are in good enough condition to send out. So I'm going to spend the rest of this afternoon organizing them. Okay, it's done. I have reached out to 20 bookstagrammers and asked them if they wanted to receive a free copy of my book. So I can check that off my list now. And guys, that was exhausting. Part of it, I think, was because I was hunched over my desk like I am right now, typing out the message on my phone because I was using my phone to contact them. Sometimes they would have email addresses and I would be able to use the computer, but most of the time it was just tapping out a message on my phone, which is tiring. Plus just the mental exhaustion of reaching out to people I don't know. But everyone has been so generous and lovely so far. I've had a really good response rate. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of people, but a lot of people seem to be really excited about the book and getting a copy. I did change my intro message to make it clear that it was fine if they didn't review or talk about the book on release day. Just kind of whenever they talk about the book is really fine with me, honestly. So one benefit of a publishing house is that there would be people who would do this for me. They would have an outreach team, an ARC team, not a team, maybe just one person. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but somebody would be contacting these people on my behalf and sending books out. That's what happened last time. So, but I kind of like this personal style, this personal method a little bit better, reaching out as an author. So even if I do in the future sign another traditional publishing contract, I think I might do this, reach out personally. But it is a lot of work, so I fully appreciate the people in publishing houses who are doing this kind of work and reaching out and sending books out. I still have to package mine up and get them out in the mail, so I'll be working on that this weekend. This is what they mean when they say that if you're a self-publisher, you are publisher, writer, marketing, publicity, mail service, tech, IT, website design, literally everything. It's a lot. I'm lucky Ryan is going to be helping me package up these books, so thank goodness for him. It's Friday. The week is over. I did a lot of things this week, most of them revolving around this bookstagram outreach. What else did I do? I forgot to tell you. Remember on Monday when I submitted the audiobook to Find Away Voices and I was like, it's going to take several weeks or whatever? They got back to me that same day on Monday. They said the quality check passed, the book's been published, they're sending it out to distributors. So now I think we just have to wait a couple weeks for the distributors to put it up on their website and that kind of thing. But that went by a lot faster than I thought it would, which is great, which is fantastic. We're still waiting to hear from ACX, from the Audible distributor. Probably won't hear from them for years. So yay to Find Away Voices for being on the ball. What else did I do this week? The newsletter, the first 5 chapters, bookstagram outreach, relaxing, going for walks, reading, taking care of my mental health. So a good week, a good start to my low-key book launch. I'm not feeling a lot of anxiety yet, knock on wood. Maybe I won't feel any anxiety at all. I'm having fun. That's the thing. I'm having a lot of fun. Before I wrap this up, I wanted to leave you with 3 takeaways from my low-key book launch week 1. The first takeaway, for the past few months, I have been prioritizing writing the next book in this series over promoting and launching On a Dark Tide. And I have no regrets about doing this. I struggle with juggling multiple projects with that kind of fractured mind. I like to have one big project that I'm working on, and usually I can work on another smaller project, but I really like to focus in on one big project. And if I try to take on too much, my brain just gets all scattered and I get really tired really easily and anxious faster. So I start to lack focus and then all the work suffers. So it's been really nice to be able to focus 100% on launching On a Dark Tide with the knowledge that the second book is well on its way to its own release date. So even though I know I'm getting a later start than usual on launching my book, with traditional publishing, you usually start that process 4 to 6 months before the book comes out. I'm happy that I'm doing it this way. I don't have any regrets that the launch period is going to be shorter. I think my time was well spent working on book 2. The second takeaway is to remember that the voice that wakes you up in the middle of the night that tells you you can't or you shouldn't or you're stupid or you're going to fail, that is not the voice that you should be listening to when you're embarking on a project like this one, whether you're writing the book or launching a book. That is the voice that you need to be ignoring. Instead, find and listen to your most enthusiastic cheerleaders, the voices that just tell you to keep going. The third and final takeaway is to remember that most people in this world are kind and generous and will be more than happy to help you. All you have to do is ask. Not everyone will say yes, but a lot of people will, and that's the important part. You have to give people the chance to say yes. So that's it for week 1. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes look. I'll be back next week with some more behind the scenes, and we'll see where next week takes us. I'm very bad at this, Ryan.
Yeah, you are.